Combining AI and images is a powerful way to improve your English in many areas, your vocabulary, learning not just a word and what it means, but how it's used visually to understand it on a deeper level. Your ability to describe. We live in a visual world. It's important to be able to describe things clearly. We can also use images to start conversations as a centerpiece for a conversation. There are some other things we can do as well. But really, combining these two things, I think, is an important part of developing your English skills. And so we're going to play around in this video with Midjourney and ChatGPT to see how we can use AI and images to improve English skills. So let's take an image. I'm in Midjourney. Let's find an image that we like and just click on it. Now, I'm doing this with AI-generated images because AI-generated images have the prompts. Whoa, that's pretty crazy. Let's see what we have here. A full-body shot of a colossal divine figure representing the United States as the currency god named Fortunus Maximus. The god is a towering, armored titan covered in shimmering gold radiating power and wealth. Okay, so there are a lot of really interesting words there that I could pick out. Maybe I don't want to create Fortunus Maximus. I want to use other words that I find interesting here to create something else. Using words to create something else, another image, again, gives you a deeper sense for, okay, what do these words really mean without having to say what they mean, to define what they mean. In a way, it's kind of understanding words more intuitively. So I like colossal divine figure. Let's just go to create, and I'm just going to use a colossal divine figure on the moon. A colossal divine figure on the moon. And let's keep it simple. And I'm going to use the same thing here. Let's see. An oil painting of a colossal divine figure on the moon. All right. So maybe I define it, maybe I don't, but I have some now things I can look at that give me a sense for it. Okay, colossal, divine figure. This one is inspired by Hinduism. This one I'm not quite sure. It's big, right? Colossal means big. Divine, it's related to divinity, gods, right? And so while I may not actually define those things, seeing the word used in different ways gives me a kind of deeper experience. And that's pretty cool too. This is a bit more abstract, but I like that one as well. So there's kind of an input-output thing going on here, but it's playful. It's casually browsing, looking for images that grab your eye, and finding interesting words from the prompt used to make those images. And then with some of those words, using your imagination a bit to create something new, to get a slightly deeper or different, more nuanced understanding of the words. Now, if you already have an image and you want to maybe learn some words to describe it, or learn how you could describe it, you might do something like this. So we'll go over to ChatGPT, and we will grab that one of the moon images, and just say something like this. Please describe this image in detail. Divine figure on the moon here. The image depicts a vast lunar landscape with rugged, uneven terrain consisting of rocky outcrops, ridges, and scattered boulders. The ground appears dusty and cratered, characteristic of the moon's surface. The scene is illuminated by a golden light casting long shadows and emphasizing the textures of the rocky formations. In the foreground stands a colossal statue-like figure with an ancient Egyptian-inspired design. The figure is humanoid with a muscular build. So there's this thing we say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, maybe it actually is. Maybe it's actually worth a lot more than 1,000 words. Use the visual as a learning tool to pick out words, to play with words, to create using your imagination as a way to explore those words more deeply, and to learn to describe things. I mean, there's a lot you can learn from this description of this one image about how to describe the structure of a description, how to weave words together and use adjectives. A humanoid with a muscular build wearing armor or scale-like coverings on its lower body. That's a great use of adjectives and nouns to create a clear visual image. If you describe something like that, if you learn that structure, you can apply it to other things in your life to describe things as well. It's a very powerful thing. But again, this whole thing is quite, I think, playful. It's important to keep the playful attitude. Now, maybe I learned a word recently, and now I want to explore it visually in different ways to get a more intuitive sense for it. Let's say the word labyrinth. So we can create different pictures using that word in different ways. Let's see. A 90s style supermarket as a labyrinth. Okay, and then I'm going to go over to Midjourney, and I'm going to say a dense fog hanging over a mysterious mythological labyrinth. And let's also say an underground labyrinth. Okay, so let's see. I've got my supermarket labyrinth here. Okay, so it seems to go on endlessly there. Here's my underground labyrinth. That's actually pretty good. Wow, that's a little bit creepy. That's giving me a bit of anxiety. Endless tunnels. And these are all different, and so I'm getting kind of a different perspective each time. Ooh, I really like this one. Wow, I like that one a lot. A dense fog hanging over a mysterious mythological labyrinth. Wow, that's pretty cool. So that's, I think, just fun. It's just fun to kind of play around. And if you look at my Midjourney, if you scroll and scroll, you will see some crazy, crazy stuff because I think it's just a fun process to create images using my imagination. And I feel like it keeps me sharp, right? It forces me to think creatively about the language that I use. But you might be thinking, okay, what about something more practical? Like I learned the word distraught, and I want to understand not just what that word means, but what it feels like to see someone who is distraught. Okay, let's say a distraught businessman. And maybe while I'm at it, I could say an exuberant businessman. There's my distraught businessman. He doesn't just look unhappy, he looks extremely unhappy. Wow, that looks pretty serious. This businessman is having a bad day. And this exuberant businessman is having a very good day. He's very happy about something. He seems really excited. He seems to be loving life. Maybe something great just happened to this extremely exuberant businessman. So this is giving you what you get as a native speaker of a language, which is language tends to be tied to the environment, especially the visual environment. And we don't really recognize that a lot of our understanding of a word or concept is tied to the whole context, the whole situation, the thing we saw, the distraught man we saw. But then when people learn the language as a second language, if it's not their first language, they tend to learn it on paper. They tend to learn the definition, they tend to learn the example sentence, they tend to take the quiz, lacking that deeper intuitive sense. I think that's missing. That's missing as a part of English education. But it's not too late. You can make time for this, right? You can do this for fun. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you're writing a blog and you create some interesting images to add to your blog this way. Great. Do that. That's good. I do that. Now, going back over to ChatGPT, I want to now use an image as a conversation starter instead of having to come up with a topic or something to chat with ChatGPT. I want to just use an image and see what happens, right? So let's do that. So I'm going to drag this image of a labyrinth down here and say, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. This image depicts a mysterious fog-covered stone labyrinth. So there's symbolism. Okay, so some background information, and then what about it stands out to you? Are you thinking of using this image for something specific? Yeah, this picture does something for me. It kind of evokes a foreboding, not terror, but a foreboding sense as though something is about to come through the labyrinth. What about you?
It's not outright terrifying, but it feels like something is on the verge of emerging, like the moment before an encounter in a dream where you know something is about to step out of the mist, but you don't know what. It could be something sinister, or it could be something ancient, something with a presence so overwhelming that it bends reality around it. The fog makes it worse, in a good way. It obscures just enough to make your mind fill in the gaps. The labyrinth walls feel solid, oppressive, but they're not broken or ruined, which gives the sense that whatever is inside is still there, waiting, maybe watching. It's the kind of image that doesn't scream horror. It whispers it. It's the slow dread of something inevitable, like a forgotten myth stirring to life. Does that kind of tension resonate with you? What kind of thing do you imagine coming through?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind, I guess, obviously, is Theseus, who went into the labyrinth and killed the Minotaur. Maybe the Minotaur wasn't totally killed, and he's very wounded, and he's breathing heavily, emerging from the labyrinth with a lot of rage. That would be a scary thing.
If the Minotaur wasn't completely killed, just left for dead, wounded but still alive, then what emerges from the labyrinth isn't just a monster, but something half dead, half mad with pain and rage. His breathing would be deep and ragged, echoing through the mist before he's even visible. And maybe he's changed. Maybe the years inside the labyrinth, festering in the dark, have twisted him into something even worse than before. No longer just a brute force, but something aware, something that's been waiting, biding its time. His eyes burning in the fog, his massive frame barely distinguishable at first. Just the sound of heavy hooves scraping stone and a deep guttural breath filling the air. Would he want revenge? Or would he have something more terrifying in mind, like reshaping the world into his own labyrinth, so no one can ever escape again?
The last thing we'll do is an exercise in description. This is really interesting. You take an image, or you generate an image, and you imagine that you're the one who was there taking that image. You were there. So you have to talk about what's going on, you have to describe it a bit, but also talk about how you were feeling at the time, on the day, in the moment, the context. It's a useful little challenge. So let's try it. Hey, so I want you to give me feedback on my English. Tell me how I might describe the scene better, how I could do a better job explaining how I felt on the day, and try to be critical and help me improve the description I give. So recently I started getting up really early with my son. Usually I'm a late riser, but lately I've been getting up with him around 6 in the morning. And I'm starting to get used to it. And he seems to really enjoy it. It's kind of become our special time in the morning. So one morning he really wanted to sit in his chair. He's a little too short to sit in his chair by himself, so I had to help him sit in his chair. and he wanted to just do art by himself, which just means scribbling with crayons. So I had this very nice, peaceful, serene moment watching my son sitting in his chair as the sun rose out the window. The sky was still pretty dim, exploring his, let's say, childish creativity, but exploring, I think, his ability to do things. He's just now learning that he can make marks on paper, and it makes a mark on paper. And that's a really cool thing to realize, because then you can start really creating. And it's exciting to see the beginning of that process. Okay, your description is strong in conveying the emotional connection you have with your son, but it could be clear and more refined in structure. Here's some feedback. Structural and clarity issues, repetition, grammar and punctuation. Punctuation, I was speaking. More vivid imagery, more emotion and reflection. Okay, food for thought, and it's giving me a suggested revision. Lately, I've been waking up early with my son. I've always been a late riser. These mornings, starting at 6, are becoming a new rhythm. One I'm learning to appreciate. Oh, I like that better. This is better than what I said. Okay. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So this whole process has been me playing around. And that's, I think, the key thing. To develop an attitude of play and to find a playground and things you can do on the playground. I think images and videos are a great way to play with language, explore words intuitively, understand them on a deeper level, not a defined level, not even a sentence level, just how is this word used? What happens when I use it in different ways? To give you the thing that native English speakers get when they learn their native language, which is a richer context. Rather than words just being on paper, words used in a richer context. So whether you're just exploring, finding, discovering words from prompts that are used to create images, or you're using those words to create your own using your imagination, or you're telling a story of a real image, or perhaps an image you create, you generate, and getting feedback on that, or you're learning new structures for description by asking for ChatGPT, for example, to describe an image in detail. It's all play. It's all play. And that play, I think, is an important part of the English learning journey. So try it out. If you have any questions, let me know. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Get a free course in the links in the description, and check out the 90-day program. Intense, yes, but I think the best way to improve your English in 90 days is 90 days of difficulty, struggle, worth a lifetime of fluency? If you think so, check it out in the links in the description, and I will see you in the next one.